My name is Bharat. I am Sivayogi Sivarajan student. I live in Canada, so I have been trained by Aya online. So I'm here to give my feedback, my experiences about the techniques that I've learned and what has happened to me. So let's start off with the first techniques that Aya taught me. At the beginning stages, I'm sure you guys can imagine our minds are scattered. It kind of doesn't really calm down. There are random thoughts, and unless and until we learn to focus, to concentrate, nothing really starts happening. So Aya started teaching me techniques on first how to calm the mind, how to calm the thoughts, and as we moved further and further into the techniques, it started off with like subtle visions. Visions are fancy fluff words. It's nothing like it stares you in the face. It's nothing like a movie or something. So essentially what happens is, at first it starts off really subtly. You don't really know whether you're imagining it or whether you're actually seeing it until it actually starts staring you in the face, where you kind of have to question yourself on, okay, it has reached a point where it's no longer just my imagination because it's too detailed, too much in my face, let's just say, where I have to swallow it and I can't just say that I'm imagining things. These sort of things first start happening, and as I calm my mind, I started my traumas, my fears, my insecurities, my lust, my anger, all these negative emotions start like bubbling up. Because the way Aya mentions it is like when you start cleaning a pond. In Tamil we say thurvaradu. When we do that, all the dirt first comes up. Like if you have a pot filled with water and there's dirt in that water, as soon as you try to stir it, if you let that pot of water sit, the dirt settles down due to gravity. But when you start doing yoga, you kind of stir this pot up and all the dirt first comes out, and it's very interesting, the kind of things we suppress. But anyway, that's kind of how my experiences started. I started seeing things, and then it's not only during the practice of concentration, it's not only during my yoga sadhana, when I'm like normally walking in my day, when I'm like living my life, driving my car, walking my dog, I start seeing things. I start seeing things on grass, in the natural world, like normally when I'm not even trying to. This is when I started getting more and more faith that there's actually really something in these techniques. And then moving forward, Aya started teaching me how to control my breath. By the way, all this information Aya also has in his YouTube channel, which is free for the world, anyone to learn if you're willing to listen. But this information is out there. And Aya's techniques of how to breathe further calmed my mind, because thoughts and breath are very intimately connected, and I learned that only by doing. Because sometimes you can read all the Upanishads like Yoga Tattva Upanishad or whatever, but Hatha Yoga Pradipika, whatever you read, these are just books, and unless and until you experientially learn these things or actually try these things, you don't really believe them, right? Like it's like, oh, a yogi can fly. Like, okay, how can you fly? But anyway, so these kind of things experientially you learn, and then you start questioning when you actually experience it whether all of this is real. So I started seeing things, and moving on with my breathing techniques, Aya taught me how to like clean my internal nervous system. And unless and until I do that, I now understand the value. When I was actually practicing it, it was more like a chore. It's like a repeated exercise. It's the same thing that you do over and over again. So I was doing that. So pranayam techniques, Aya was able to teach me, like, how to count your breath. Aya very fondly says that Tirumular says, if you know how to count your breath, then you can solve almost all problems on the planet. But Aya will be able to say it way better in Tamil than I ever can. So I'll leave him, who's the expert, to quote Tirumandiram's verses for you guys, but it's there. So these kind of experience started happening. My internal system started getting cleaned. After that is when my yoga got even more powerful. I was able to sit, and when I sat, my mind will calm down. My breath will go slower and slower and slower and slower, to a point where I can't even feel my breath. Like, I've read about these things in the Hatha Yoga Pradipika, like Kevala Kumbhaka, but I have never experienced it. And with Aya's help and Aya's guidance, I actually experienced what Kevala Kumbhaka is, and it naturally happens to us, and I'm sure it will happen to anybody who is able to calm their mind and breath to that extent. After that started happening is when Aya started teaching me other techniques of concentration, like focusing on your Shushumna Nadi. When you start focusing on that, and when your mind calms and when your breath calms, what started happening was, the first thing that I started feeling, this is going to sound fluffy, but I actually did feel my chakras. So I was able to feel like an electric current jump from the Muladhara to Swadhisthana and all the way up to my Ajna chakra. It keeps jumping up. I haven't reached the stage where it goes all the way to the Sahasra, I'll be honest with you guys, but I can feel it all the way up here, like an electric jump, and it was amazing. And beyond that is when I started feeling a lifting force from under me. And this thing was so powerful that it was able to knock me back when I was in the Padmasana. And moving forward, Aya's techniques have been taking me deeper and deeper into this, to a point where I have actually started to feel my breath go behind my throat, and I'm approaching the Kechari Yoga, Tirumular's Kechari Yoga, which will open, like the way Aya says, the flow of knowledge from the Sahasra. And this is my feedback. It has been nothing short of an amazing experience being Aya's student, and I hope that with Aya's guidance, one day I will be able to reach Mukti. And that is why I'm Aya's student. I just wanted to thank you guys for patiently listening to my feedback / rant, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day.